All right, today we're diving into a fascinating map of consciousness taken straight from the classic text Zazen. We're talking about a path that takes a meditator from the simple act of quieting the mind all the way to a state of profound awakening. We're going to break down that whole journey from the first dhyana all the way to the fourth.
It's a question you've probably asked yourself. Is meditation just a tool for chilling out, for a little stress relief? Or can it actually lead to something much, much deeper? Well, according to this text, there is an incredibly clear map for that journey. So let's take a look at the path it lays out for us.
So here's our game plan. We're going to follow this map in 6 stages. We'll start at the very beginning, the base camp of practice, by quieting our senses. Then we'll ascend through these states of incredible stillness, and finally push towards the summit, a place where suffering itself can be completely broken through. To really get a handle on this, let's think of the whole thing like climbing a massive mountain. Each dhyana, which is just a word for a state of deep meditation, is like reaching a new, higher plateau on that mountain. And from each one, you get a completely different, wider view of reality. And here they are, our 4 main stages, the key plateaus on our climb. Each one represents a pretty profound shift in consciousness, and each one builds logically on the one before it. So let's start at the bottom. Every great climb starts at base camp, right? And for the meditator, base camp is all about withdrawing from the constant noise of the outside world. It's a process of systematically and gently turning down the volume on our senses. The path really begins with what's called the first dhyana, and this involves what the text calls extinguishing the senses of smell and taste. The idea is that these are often the first to fade away as your concentration gets deeper. Now, this isn't about forcefully blocking them out, but more about reaching a state of focus where they just don't grab your attention anymore. The second dhyana just builds right on top of that. This is where you quiet the remaining and honestly more powerful senses: your hearing, all the physical sensations in your body, and your sight. Once this stage is reached, the meditator has pretty much withdrawn from the entire external world. Consciousness turns fully inward. Now, this is a really important point the text makes. This whole initial phase, it's not like flipping a switch. You're not going to see these dramatic, sudden shifts. It's much more of a gradual, sequential letting go. Think of it like a slow and steady climb through the foothills of the mountain. So, after that initial climb through the foothills, the practitioner arrives at the first major viewpoint, the third dhyana. And this isn't just another subtle shift. Oh no, this is a profound and actually verifiable state of deep, deep inner quiet. And how is it verified? Well, the text gives this almost unbelievable benchmark. We're not talking about a few hours of peace and quiet here. We are talking about the ability to stay in a state of deep, totally uninterrupted meditation for 3 to 6 days, or even longer. So just to be crystal clear, the test for the third dhyana is all about stability. It means the 5 senses have completely lost their power to pull you out of your meditative state, even over the course of several days. This is just a monumental achievement of concentration. Okay, so from this unshakable platform of stillness, the practitioner can finally make the push to the summit. And that summit is the 4th dhyana. This is the point where the text says you can actually eradicate dukkha, which isn't just sadness, but that deep underlying feeling of unsatisfactoriness that runs through life. And the text is just so emphatic about what it's like to break through into this 4th dhyana. It says it's an awakening, an enlightenment that simply goes beyond what language can capture. It's something that has to be experienced, not just explained. So what does it feel like? Well, this gives us a little glimpse into that experience. The boundary between you and the world, it just dissolves. Your perception penetrates everything. You see things with this incredible clarity. The mountain is just the mountain. And out of this flows this subtle, unending joy. A person who reaches this state is called a shravaka, or a hearer. Why? Because they finally directly realize the truth of the teachings they've heard all along. For them, the job is done. Suffering is extinguished. And the source notes, this is the highest level of practice that most people can attain. But what if the journey doesn't end there? What if even that incredible joy is just another subtle attachment? For some practitioners, the ones with exceptionally sharp minds, there are still finer layers of reality to see through. And this slide just lays out the difference perfectly. The Shravaka's work is to end suffering, period. But the Pratyeka Buddha, the solitary enlightened one, they go even further. Their work is to see the subtle clinging within joy itself, and then to dismantle the very root of ego. So once that ecstatic joy, or piti, is seen through and let go of, what's left? The source describes it as this pure, content-free emotion. It's the most subtle, concentrated form of self-awareness, of ego. It's that bare, raw sense of I am, without any story or personality attached to it. And when that final, subtle attachment to I is finally shattered, wow, the breakthrough is cosmic. That individual's sense of consciousness just dissolves, flowing out to become one with the infinite emptiness of space. The drop returns to the ocean. So after this absolutely incredible ascent, from quieting the senses all the way to dissolving the self, we finally arrive at the view from the very top, the conclusion of the path as it's laid out in this text. And the text is completely definitive here. For the individual practitioner, this is it. The path of personal cultivation reaches its final destination. The journey of self-perfection is complete. But then, and this is so important, the author gives us this crucial piece of advice. After giving us all these fancy terms, Shravaka, Pratyeka Buddha, Dhyanas, he tells us, don't get attached to them. The map is not the territory. And this really gets to the heart of it all. It doesn't matter what you call it. What matters is the direct experience. Did you extinguish suffering? Did you realize the nature of emptiness? That is the real fruit of the practice, not the title you give yourself. Which leaves us with a final thought to really chew on. If the names we give the destinations aren't the point, then what is the true essence of this path? Maybe it's not about arriving at a label at all, but about the profound transformation that happens with every single step of the climb.